Hey guys, Ultimate S&S here. So we're going to talk a little bit here about prepping and why it's important, guys. So I know that a lot of y'all have been here and y'all have seen a lot of our prep videos, and it may seem like a lot of the sustainability and survival stuff is working its way into that. And the reason for that is because it is all intertwined together. So you can reach a sustainable lifestyle, but it does not hurt to go ahead and prep. That means if you're going out to the store and you're buying food, you're trying to find what you can get as far as deals on these, half empty shelves that are out here with the price tags going through the roof. The price of food has gone way up. People don't seem to understand that. I mean, here in 2022, I'm already seeing, an extra dollar for stuff that was, less than a buck before. So, expect those prices to continue to rise. And here's why: because the fertilizer issues with how much it's costing, and the reason it's costing so much is because there's actually less supply now. So as long as this conflict over there continues, guys, we're not going to see those prices come down. Same thing with for diesel fuel. For those who don't realize, when this guy took office, man, the first thing he did was cripple the oil industry and coal industry, and then put us where we were in a dependent state upon Russian fuel. And unfortunately, we're in this situation now, and the prices are going up, and those prices are affecting everyone, from the farmers in the fields, not just with the fertilizer, but with fuel as well, because it costs money to run that equipment. It costs money to process it. It costs money to truck that stuff across the country, and the farmer and the truck supplier, they can't eat those costs. They can't afford that. They can't afford inflation all on their own, so it gets spread around. So we, the consumers, catch a lot of it. And the less food that's being produced, the higher the price is going to be, because there is a less supply. But the demand has not changed. In fact, the demand is probably going up. So for those who want to walk around and say, well, I only eat organic stuff and things like that, you need to understand what organic truly is. They wear it like a badge of honor, and there's nothing wrong with eating organic, but you need to make sure that organic food that you're eating is GMO free. That's where it's important. Now, is it important to try to go organic? Well, if you're growing your own garden and you're not buying chemicals to fertilize it, and you're just using like quail manure or compost that you've made around the house, dead leaf compost and stuff that you're making from the year before, then you're organic gardening at that point, guys. Now, you're going to run into a lot of pest problems. The biggest pests that we typically run into are aphids with our gardens. And what can you do to help with that? Well, for me, before I even started trying to attempt gardens, I like to experiment around with stuff. So I actually had bought a kit. It was on Amazon. I don't know if they still sell it or not, but it's been a couple years ago. And I had actually taken and raised a bunch of ladybugs. So some of them are just your traditional ladybugs, and some of them are what they call a gold wing beetle, which will eat a little bit on the leaves, but is typically going for aphids and things like that. And they look like little gold beetles, but I raised a bunch of those and just turned them loose in the yard over in the area where we're going to be gardening. Had been fertilizing that soil. So what I've noticed out there, and I'll try to get some videos if I can find some. Honestly, when I'm out moving around the garden, I'm not even thinking to look for them until the crops get larger. That's typically when you deal with your aphid issues, is at about medium height. But we'll keep an eye for that and kind of show you what they do. But they destroy the aphids, and they make sure that they don't lay their eggs. They eat everything. So, and they're not too hard on a garden, whereas like these, we always call them June bugs. I think it's actually a Japanese beetle, and they'll eat a garden to the ground. They're not as bad as grasshoppers or locusts, as people call them, but they can do a lot of damage. So you want to introduce things into the area that help. So something that you can do, especially for like tomato plants and things like that, you can take just a little bit of Dawn dish detergent, put it in with some water, and spray that directly onto the leaves, and that's going to help cover up, which will smother basically the aphids and things. That helps some. You don't want to go too heavy with the soap, because you can actually put a coating on your plant that messes with the photosynthesis. So if you're not prepping, guys, this is where it comes down to. If you're not getting ready, and I'm talking double timing it, figuring out a budget to work on where you can put getting food for your family and actually stockpile food, then you're probably going to starve. in the days ahead. Now you can easily put in a garden. That's the big thing, is a lot of times it's cost, and I understand that, but seeds don't cost much at all. Um, I don't know if EBT or whatever that's it's called. I don't know if that covers seeds and things like that. I don't know if it covers actual plants. For food plants, it might. That's something to check on. But if nothing else, if you're buying stuff at the store, get the seeds from it. Now I understand it's a GMO and it's not going to be exactly as that other plant was, but remember this: you're already eating GMO. You're just buying it because of the organic label. So that's how you go organic. And GMO, it's got some issues with it, but it's better than not eating. So you can get seeds off of stuff inside the store that you can buy with your EBT cards. There's all kinds of great resources on how to sprout tomato plants from just a slice of tomato. Make a real thin slice on that tomato, and lay it on some soil, sprinkle just a little bit of dirt on there, and it's actually going to sprout up and give you tomato seeds for plants that you can put up. Now those tomato seeds, they're not going to give a plant that's going to be giving those big tomatoes. They'll be, a little bit smaller, but it's still food, and it's food you can put back. And the same for corn. Most all corn is what is considered GMO. So if you buy corn in the store and you go ahead and dry an ear out, chances are you're going to be able to use that and get a pretty similar plant to that. But honestly, I went and I bought seeds over here at the local hardware store. Well, I say hardware store, feed store, and it was not too expensive compared to Walmart and all the other places around. They actually had good quality seeds that are sold to large farms. And I ended up getting a half a pound of sweet corn. I forget what it's called, something silver sweet corn. Anyway, real good corn, real nice big cobs. And that stuff ended up costing me, for a half a pound, was like $2. So check around your local feed stores and things like that. You're going to be able to find a lot better deal on seeds. The seeds are not going to be as old as the stuff that you're buying in those little packs at the store, because most of that stuff is stuff that's left over from when they plant and things like that. They'll have some stuff left over and sweep it in, or maybe drop on the ground. That's why you'll find dirt in there with them seeds sometimes. They don't do a very good job packaging that stuff. So definitely look for more of an agricultural store to go buy that stuff at. And then always get more than you need. That way, if you plant and only half of your crops come up, then you can plant a few more seeds in. But what I've been doing in the garden is I'll take and will actually take part of, if I'm planting 2 or 3 seeds of a type in the same hole, and all of that comes up, but the next row over is, like with my spinach that I've tried to start 2 times after already, nothing happened. So what I did is I just went over and I went to my lettuce where I had to thin it out, and I moved a few pieces of lettuce over there. That way it will grow a lettuce plant. And you can do that across the whole garden. You want to make sure that you're not putting certain types of plants next to other ones. If you've got like a creeping plant that's going to grab and choke other plants down, try not to put them too close to other plants. Make sure to have lattice and things like that. But those are just a few tips and advice that I can give you. It's just important, guys. Go out, get you some food, even if it's not canned food and it's fresh food. Think about getting a dehydrator. Think about getting some canners. The problem I have with canners right now is the jars are so expensive. You can find jars and things like that at yard sales. Maybe you have a lot, but then the lids and the bands, they cost almost as much as a case of jars. So you're looking at some serious cost in that. I think the dehydrator is probably going to be the easiest way to go. Plus, it's going to be a lot lighter to move that stuff. Where the cans will come in handy is you won't have to cook that because it's already pre-cooked. You could eat it straight out of the can potentially, and not give positions away with fires to warm stuff up, things like that. But there's a lot of really great resources on how to do, hidden fires to heat your food and stuff. So, and when it comes right down to it, as if it's dehydrated, you're not going to have to worry about any kind of bacteria and stuff. Whereas with jars and stuff, you potentially could run into botulism. And if you get hungry enough, you notice that lid's not quite sealed, you might actually risk it. The reason I say that is because when people get hungry enough, there's cases of cannibalism for people who haven't paid attention to history. So you want to make sure that you're keeping healthy, or at least edible food around, guys. So, but I hope you enjoy these tips and things. Thanks everyone for the comments and the likes. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We've got a lot of great content here and a lot of changing content as we move forward. So we're not just teaching you how to reach a level of sustainability and survival on this channel. We are also trying to remove the veil of what is going on in the world right now, so you can better understand where we're coming from on this point of view. So if you are kind of walking around with eyes wide shut, as they say, you're seeing what they tell you on the news, but you're not actually seeing the way it really is. And I'm hoping that we can enlighten a few people to that, guys. But and tomorrow, Wednesday, 8:00 p.m. That is Central Standard Time. We're going to be having a live stream, so look forward to seeing everybody there. And bring some great jokes, bring some, whatever. Let's just have a great time and chat it out, guys. Have a good one.